Hey everyone, wanted to follow up on my last video on how to use the BCP with a couple of my favorite metrics that I look at, along with some potential goals that you may want to assign number-wise to those KPIs or metrics. Again, take all of this with a grain of salt. Every business is different. You may have a higher ARO if you're working on foreign. You may have more cars if you're working on imports. So again, use your own discretion, but these should give you at least a guideline here. Normally with my metrics, I like to break it up between front shop and back shop. It's just easier for my brain. I want to assess all my technicians on one side of the spectrum, and I want to assess the sales and advisor side on the other side of the spectrum. So let's start at the front shop. Usually first thing I look at is ARO. This is a common metric. Most advisors know what they're looking at as far as ARO goes, and I can pretty well gauge my selling efficiency with ARO. Next, I want to look at what I might look at next, if I do have several advisors, is average number of ROs written per day, just to see what the split of work is. If one advisor is writing up 10 tickets a day and one's writing up 5, I need to assess the one writing up 5 a little differently. If you only got one advisor up front, this metric may not matter. This is kind of a little bonus one depending on your shop setup. Next, what I care about is inspections being sent to the customers. When we get to the back shop, we're going to look at inspections performed. But what I am concerned with the advisors is, are these metrics being sent out once they're actually being performed? Goal for this generally should be 100%. There's very few scenarios where an inspection is performed and is not sent. There are a couple exclusions for that potentially, but I would still argue there's reason to send those out. Next, what I care about is quality of the inspections. And usually what we look at there is edited number of pictures. Oh, not pictures. We want edited pictures. Where do they hide that? There under E. Edited pictures per inspection. And these are things to make the inspection easier to self-sell, as I would call it. Can the customer look through this inspection? Can they look at the pictures and get the gist of what's wrong? What do they need to do and why? Well, I need to add a caption into the photo, and I should highlight what the heck they should be looking at in the photo anyways. As far as a goal for this, well, let's say you take 15 pictures on average, and half of those are CYA photos, like 4-corner pictures, a state inspection sticker, a license plate. Let's say half of your photos are CYA, half are actual recommendations. That's a bit of a middle ground there. So we could realistically expect half of the photos to be edited. So normally 50-60% is usually where I'm going to land on the edited pictures per inspection. I've seen some guys go even higher than that, but as a rule of thumb, 50-60% of your pictures that are going to be doing a lot of the selling, I think is a great starting point. Next, I want to look at, let's see, what's another common one for them? Usually research time is a big number that I'm looking at for them. This helps me gauge the engagement level of the customers. It tells me, are the inspections quality enough? That's really more on the text. They have to be providing that quality of the inspections, pictures, recommendations, that sort of thing. It's the advisor's job to edit that to make it more engaging, but we really start with the text there. However, the research rate, if the advisor is not doing a great job of letting the customer know that it is the customer's job and the next step for them is to actually open up the inspection after it's sent to them and review it, click on all the pictures, read the recommendations. If that isn't made clear at the drop-off conversation and followed up at the the pre-sales conversation, this number can be very low because customers may just open it, see that there's an inspection, and immediately call up and want to talk to the advisor about it versus taking the time by themselves to look it over. So this is a really great metric for seeing if the advisors are kind of leading the customers to that inspection or not. Let me check if there's any final ones here. No, those are the main ones I look at for advisors. I would recommend you guys start with that. I didn't talk about the goal for the edit rate. I mean, the average customer research time. 240 is a great goal. That's kind of the average. If you can get customers in your inspections for 4 minutes straight, a 5 is even better, which would be 300 seconds. You're doing very well. Yes, there are some really high performers that are up in the 400 or 500 second range, and the higher that number, the better. If you look at a multitude of shops, there's a very close correlation between average customer research time and ARO if you look at a long span of time and overlay the metrics. I won't get into that now. Just know that average customer research time is one of the biggest contributors to ARO increase. So the higher you can get this, the more engagement from the customers you can get, the higher your ARO can get from that. So make sure you're getting a lot of the use out of these inspection guys. I'll follow up with another one of these for the technicians, and we might do a third one too, maybe for retention or something like that. So hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you got questions or if there's other metrics you want to dive into. And yeah, thanks guys. We'll talk to you later.